right? So you want it to make sure that the users can self-service their device and able to get the device under control without IT ever touching it. Because if IT has to touch it, you now have 3 times the PC problem. So that's the first important deployment piece that you need to look at is, does the MDM allow the different use cases when the employee joins, when the employee says, I'm going to upgrade the device, I lost the device, or I'm leaving the company, can IT not have to touch the device ever? Is the first important deployment action that you need to look at. The second thing that you need to look at is, when you have 10,000 employees, how many instances of MDM do you need to deploy? Does the MDM have the capability where you have a master server and then you can geographically deploy 10, 15, 20 different instances in different part of the world, and you are able to centrally control and centrally get the analytics? So those are the 2 key deployment related aspects that I would say that one needs to worry about when it comes to MDM.
Sure.
I mean, he's covered almost everything. I just want to add here is that what we need to, and what we as CA are focusing is that when we come and work with partners like NEPs and service providers directly, we focus on 2 areas. And that goes as part of our deployment roadmap. The first one being the internal customers.
Right.
So internal customers are internal employees of these operators. It's very important that their end user experience should correlate to having the employee SAT score high. Very important. Not entrenching on their privacy, as you mentioned, not getting into any of the, we're able to, the whole concept about BYOD is to improve the productivity of an employee.
Yeah.
And the productivity employee actually gets increased because we are allowing them to use something what they're comfortable with. That's the one aspect of it. The second aspect of it is that working with these service providers and going to their go-to-market end clients. As he mentioned, they've got over 2,600 enterprise customers. Going to them jointly and saying that we have got it right for us. And we are confident we'll be able to make it right for you.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's a two-step approach, adding on to what Nagi just said.
And it flows into it. Yeah. Finally, let me close our final question. I'm going to have you all put on your creative thinking hats. MDM 2020, let's have you take this forward.
So can be as crazy as, again, the first challenge that you put out from the TMF forum, while you said social vision and everything, the first challenge I said is margin crunch, by the way, and I think it is hitting everyone. So what we have been thinking about, at least in our world, is how do we get all these things linked in the right way? We call it network society in our small company. But to give you an example, if we want completely, kind of human intervention proof, organic chicken eggs, let's say, as kind of wild as that. If we think about having all the chicken farms in the world, where the chicken are sitting and they have a platform on which they sit, that platform is loaded on certain linear variable transformers, which can send out a pulse. The moment you calculate saying that there are 2,000 eggs, I want the conveyor to move. How will you know there are 2,000 eggs? Each egg weighs, let's say, 12 ounces. So you have the total weight. The moment that transformer goes down by that certain X millimeters, it sends out a pulse which is carried by even a GPRS signal. We don't need 3G, 4G, anything for that. So it just goes back, it triggers back that whole, conveyor belt. It takes the eggs, it gets packed, and it's done. What we have tried to achieve over here in this example is a completely human intervention free kind of collection of certain animal product, which is prone towards things like SARS and chicken flus and all the kind of, dirty things that you can think of, let's say. These are examples that are coming around. It is unbelievable, the way in which it is getting deployed out there in the world is with where it touches human productivity. It is far beyond just having the employees and the enterprises as the extended arm, let's say. It's going into these places. We are looking at 500,000 villages in the country, and with NOFN coming here, your National Optic Fiber Network, there will be bandwidth which will be available. There will be 1.2 billion subscribers who are using data as well as NOFN. But what will they do with all that bandwidth? You know, LTE works at 83 megabits per second, meaning you can put human beings through it if you make it. But if you got that, if you have that application that can manage itself to make it so simple for that villager to communicate back his taxes somewhere, we would want to do that, you know, and these are the things which are epitomical of network society. We see MDM as a very big facilitator, and hence when I started this, you know, little bit of coin that I threw in the air is while the perception is of security, the implementation is of enablement.
I've wanted to speak less about security because it's a hygiene, it's taken care of. I mean, you wouldn't exist on building better things if your security isn't in right, which is why we're going further ahead than understanding that security. But thank you.
It's the same, you know, whether it is food grain, whether it is e-Chopal, whether it is a collection of waste from the Ganges, whether it is resurrection of Uttarakhand people, let us say, you can have so many examples where you can utilize very effectively things like what we are doing and make it into a real technological win, let's say, for human race.
Sure.
I mean, adding on to what Manoj has very rightly summed up, MDM 2020 for me would be a big technology enabler. Especially if you look at country where we live in, India comes up with very unique, diverse social, cultural and political challenges. As I mentioned in my slides as well, it's very, very uniquely poised. We are one of the largest mobile device user country in the world.
600, more than restrooms.
Now, the globe is watching us, how we are going to do it right. And in 2020, the globe would be implementing what we would have done right by then. I mean, that's where I look at India.
Testing ground.
See, in one word, if I have to sum up MDM 2020, is a kind of connected world, right? Where M2M riding over MDM and generating more revenue for operator, service operator.
Wonderful. Vendu?
I think it is going to provide us with the platform for innovation, because as he mentioned that, you know, we are extending everything, you know, using this technology in the other various technologies. So it's going to be a great platform for innovation.
I'll request Mr. Negi to give us the closing thoughts on your MDM 2020.
So
I'm sure you probably have the roadmap already in place. So let us know what is.
No, if you're talking about MDM, I want to separate the concept of MDM and mobility, right? MDM as a device management product, 2020 probably there won't be one, because you are not going to be controlling devices. You are going to be controlling applications. You are going to be controlling data. So one of the things that we are really investing heavily is what we call it as a self-defending data. So the data with it carries what and who and when it can be accessed. So that way, as this whole conversation is all about, not about device, not about applications, it's about the data. It's about the information problem, right? Instead of securing the device, securing the application, if we can take the data and make it defend itself, then you don't care which device it goes to, which application it goes to. And that is where we are putting our mind into is, can we take the data and enable it to defend itself so that it doesn't matter where it goes, whose device it goes, whose network it goes, whose application it goes, it can defend itself. And that is what I would say the 2020 would be, is that the data is going to be self-defending, and MDM, MAM, none of those things probably will be any relevant.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. It's been lovely having this conversation in Bombay and here in Gurgaon in Delhi. And the take-backs are incredible from Bloomberg TV India's perspective. I'm sure Tarun has a lot of thinking to do in the coming weeks with the kind of inputs that have come about in the last couple of days. Thank you once again, gentlemen, and I request you to join us for cocktails and dinners. Thank you. Thank you.